Today, we're about 2 hours outside of the Peruvian Andean city of Huancayo, at 4,000 meters above sea level in the District of Chongos Alto. Today, we're exploring the sacred site of Chuy Wala, also known as Gorila Hill or Cerro Gorila. This is a sacred site that pertained to the Chuncos or Chongos culture.
Chuy Wala, better known as Cerro Gorila, is thought to have been a ceremonial center attributed to the Chuncos or Chongos culture that occupied this area, from around 1000 to 1450 AD. This site was occupied and utilized by various cultures since the Pre-inca era, and has been revered since ancient times as the guardian of Canipaco. Chuy Wala, or Cerro Gorila, is a large rocky mass whose summit rises almost 40 meters above the surrounding terrain. Due to the erosional effects of weathering, it has acquired a rather peculiar shape, resembling a zoomorphic creature facing slightly southwest. It has been long believed by the locals that this natural stone formation or hill seems to resemble a large gorilla, though this has obviously only been the interpretation of the appearance of this formation since Hispanic times, because the natives would have not had the knowledge of gorillas prior to the arrival of the Spanish in Peru, being that they are not native to South America. However, due to the magnificent ancient rock paintings and archaeological remains we will be investigating here today, it is obvious that for centuries, this site was long occupied by pre-Inca cultures and has been considered a sacred or spiritual place of mysterious powers long since ancient times. This sacred site is still venerated and used as a mystical place of worship by the local Andean peoples, who have continued to visit the site regularly for centuries to perform ceremonies and make offerings according to Andean customs and traditions that pay tribute to the spirits of the ancestors and the Apus. The archaeological site of Chuy Wala consists not only of the natural rock formation that can be interpreted as a gorilla or some kind of guardian spirit, but also is significant due to the archaeological remains of ancient walls, corrals and terraces, which are distributed throughout the site, and the remains of a number of tombs created within and between the crevices of the large rocks that still exhibit human remains and mysterious skulls of seemingly what appear to be little people. The inhabitants of many parts of the Andes believe in supernatural and spiritual beings called Gentiles, that are believed to have been a kind of little people with fair skin. Andean societies believe that Gentiles existed and lived here before man. It is said that some may still be living in secret remote locations in the present, and that they can manifest themselves when they are disturbed or when they are called upon when something is needed from them by the living. the slopes of Cerro Gorila feature crevices, clefts, and hollows, as well as rock shelters of varying sizes that are the perfect habitat for native fauna species such as viscachas. These natural inhabitants of Chuy Wala can be observed throughout the site, warming themselves on the rocks. The viscacha, which are a kind of rodents of the genera Legidium and are in the Chinchillidae family, dwell within the craggy rocks here. The viscachas are rodents native to South America and convergently resemble rabbits, with long fluffy tails. Though they may look similar, they are not closely related to rabbits, but instead are closely related to the chinchilla. This species lives in large colonies separated into individual family units, like an apartment complex. It eats a wide range of plant matter, settling for almost anything it can find growing in the harsh, rocky environment in which it dwells. The approach of a predator is heralded with loud, abrupt bird-like whistles. At night the viscachas shelter in deep rock crevices and narrow stony tunnels. The northern viscacha, known as Legidium peruanum, is native to the Peruvian Andes at elevations between the tree line and the snow line. They live in the Andes Mountains from central Peru southward to Chile and Argentina, usually at altitudes between 4,000 and 5,000 meters or 13,000 and 16,000 feet above sea level. The archaeological site of Chuy Wala presents one of the most remarkable representations of ancient cave art paintings to be found in all of Peru, with an impressive level of preservation and numerable depictions. This complex and intriguing panel of pictographs is believed to have been primarily produced by the Chuncos or Chongos culture that occupied this area from around 1000 to 1450 AD. The pictographs are concentrated on a large panel painted on the surface of large box of stone inside a rock shelter measuring 13.8 meters long and 2.4 meters high. There is also a second, smaller panel, to the south of the larger panel, which is 5 meters long and located 11 meters above ground level. Found under this natural rock shelter overhang, there are many intriguing pictographs, which in general consist predominantly of abstract and geometric motifs, such as intersecting straight lines, concentric circles, and circles, that are said to perhaps represent UFOs. Other motifs are also represented, such as anthropomorphic figures and birds, as well as various crosses, perhaps to portray stars and constellations, such as what appears to be the Southern Cross, which is prominently visible in the Andean night sky. The pictographs are made almost entirely with a red ochre pigment. However, there are also present designs made with yellow and white colors, and some motifs are carved or etched into the rock face surface, such as in the manner of petroglyphs. Red ochre, a pigment made from iron oxides like hematite, one of Earth's oldest naturally occurring materials, was often used as a common vivid red paint material to produce ancient rock art pictographs such as these. Ochre is a natural, iron-rich clay that, when exposed to air and moisture, rusts and develops reddish-brown hues. Different amounts of iron create variations in color, from yellow to brown. Ancient Andean peoples often harvested these iron oxides, an orange-brown sediment which is heated to enhance its color and to increase its resistance to degradation. The pigment was mixed with a liquid to create a paste, which was then applied to the rock with various methods. Ochre, which ranges in color from red and yellow to deep purple, has been used by humans for longer than any other pigment throughout history. This site includes evidence from different periods, beginning with a possible pre-ceramic occupation represented by traces of pictographs with naturalistic motifs, which would date back to a human presence some 5,000 years ago. A second important period corresponds to an occupation at the end of the early Horizon period, around 200 BC, represented by the Chongos pottery reported at the site, as well as by the schematic and geometric style pictographs that have been identified. A third period of occupation would have occurred during the late intermediate period of 1000 to 1450 AD and the late Horizon period of 1450 to 1532 AD, when the site acquired a funerary function, judging by the large number of tombs associated with Mantaro red base ceramics and other similar ones, used by the Chunco ethnic group, but also by other neighboring groups such as the Asto. When the Incas conquered this area, Chuy Wala obviously long continued to function as a necropolis and a ceremonial site for the local Andean cultures. The meanings and interpretations of these ancient markings still remain truly unknown and haven't been properly studied yet by archaeologists and deserve better protection and recognition by the Peruvian authorities and Ministry of Culture. Unfortunately, this panel has already been affected by some modern graffiti and destruction from visitors in recent times, vandalizing the panel by scratching initials and graffiti on the surface. This archaeological site, like many found throughout Peru, requires the immediate intervention by the Peruvian Ministry of Culture to preserve the site and prevent any further destruction or pollution to this important cultural heritage. Better efforts need to be taken to preserve this archaeological site and sacred place for posterity, so that future generations may also enjoy this magnificent place of cultural heritage. Through our investigations and understandings of Andean iconography and cosmology, we can draw the assumption that these panels of pictographs portray astronomical, solar and stellar constellations and alignments, along with representations of plants and symbols of fertility. Thus it can be assumed that perhaps this panel served as a type of solar calendar and ceremonial site associated with planting and harvesting seasonal crops through observation of the cosmos. Thank you for watching Mystic Places Magical Mystery Tour and following the adventures of Jonathan Alexander and Brian Jones. We hope to bring you many more videos like this one, and we would like to remind you how your support helps keep us going and bringing this exciting and fascinating content to you. We appreciate your donations. Please click on the PayPal link below the video and make us a small donation, and feel free to contact us and leave your questions and comments below. And remember to hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss our upcoming releases of more amazing petroglyphs and archaeological sites.